Hey YouTube, how is it going today? In this video, I want to go over Torchlight Energy Resources, ticker symbol TRCH. Torchlight has had a nice move up since my last video, and it's making another bullish pattern, so I'm going to give you my thoughts on the current price action, and then after that, I have some other nice-looking tradable charts to show you as well. Now, if you're new to my channel, I've been trading and investing for over 20 years, and in every video, I'll show you some of the potential trades and investments that I see setting up. So if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss any future trading or investing ideas. And I also have a Patreon group, so if you would like to be a part of our community and see what we are buying and selling in real time, that link is in the description. Alright everybody, let's get into this chart and see if we can determine what could be happening next for Torchlight. But before I get into that, if you could do me a favor and like that smash button for me and help me out with the YouTube algorithm for putting all of this together for you, I would greatly appreciate it. And make sure you stick around after I get done showing you the Torchlight chart, because I have some other nice looking charts of some stocks that could be headed up soon as well. But let's get into this chart, and as we can see, Torchlight has made a pretty decent run since my last video. If I zoom in a little bit here, in my last video, I said I was adding some more right about here. I said because it looked like it was holding that white line, that 8-period exponential moving average, so I wanted to add to my position because it had a good chance of following the 8-period exponential moving average up and continuing the trend upwards, and that is exactly what has happened with Torchlight. Now, these last couple of days has had a little bit of a trend acceleration, and normally when a stock is riding this moving average and starts to get a little bit of an acceleration, there is the risk that it's going to have a deeper correction and break that moving average. But if we look at how it has been moving the last couple of days, it is holding above that 8-period exponential moving average quite nicely. So it looks like it's making a higher price consolidation. And if we go to the hourly chart real quick, we'll take a closer look at it. Let me back it up just a little bit here. We can see, actually, let me get this little white bubble out here. We can see that it's been holding above, and not only the 8-period exponential moving average on the hourly chart, but also the 21-period exponential moving average on the hourly chart as well. Now, I use the 8-period to show me when I'm in a fast trend. I use the 21-period exponential to show me when I'm in an intermediate to a little bit longer trend. So if it's holding both of those averages in the hourly, that's a really good sign. And as you can see, it is still doing that, and it's looking like it's starting to hook up again. So the run might not be over in Torchlight. Despite having this little bit of a trend acceleration, it looks like it's digesting those gains perfectly. So, I mean, it's a super bullish looking chart, and I'm actually thinking about even adding some more to the position right now. Let's go to the 15-minute chart and take a look at this consolidation just a little bit closer. As we can see, it's making a very nice bullish looking triangle. And if you look at 15-minute charts a lot, and you should be if you're trying to examine, what's going on under the hood with some of these trends, you can see that these triangle consolidations, they happen all the time, and when they're in an uptrend, they almost always lead to a price acceleration later. I mean, I could probably go back here and draw all kinds of them on not only this current uptrend, but on others in the past before it took off. But I like to draw these little triangle consolidations, and that tells me when the trend is holding and a good time to also start adding. If it breaks through this triangle consolidation, I'll probably strongly consider adding a little bit to this position, because that tells me that the trend is still intact, and of course the trend is your friend. So there is nothing wrong with what's going on with Torchlight's chart. And if I had to stick my neck out there and make another prediction, I'm guessing it's probably going to go higher, even though it's extended. I think if it can continue to go sideways while this white line catches up, that 8-period exponential moving average, there's a very good chance that it could end up, hooking a price even further. Now, let's go to the weekly chart real quick to examine how the long-term trend is shaping out. And if we look at the weekly, you can see there was a beautiful reversal off of this big down week where it jumped right back above those moving averages. I also look at this too when I'm looking at entering a position to the upside. Is the long trend also looking like it is reversing and heading higher? And that's exactly what's happening. It's been holding that 21-period exponential moving average on the weekly time frame as well. And it also had a nice breakout above this resistance area. So, I mean, all signs point to up on Torchlight. I know that's a famous last words a lot of times. A lot of times charts are looking like this and they kind of suck you in. But before charts go on big runs, this is exactly how they look like. So I am sitting tight with my Torchlight position. And if it continues to move sideways and prints, let me go back to the daily chart real quick. If it works, okay, if it continues to move sideways and it prints a nice green candle right here, if it looks kind of something like this, then that's telling me, once this white line catches up, that's telling me that it's probably going to be heading higher, kind of just like the one it made right here. If it can print off another one like that, it's probably going higher, and it's going to show some more gains. All right, so let's jump into some of those other charts that I was telling you about that look like they could be heading up soon. And all I did was click on my industry group tab because when I see a stock that's making a bullish pattern, the first thing I like to do is check the industry group and see if there's any other stocks in that industry that are also starting to make bullish patterns. Because if that is the case, there's usually a stronger possibility that you're going to get some follow through on ones that are starting to break out. And the first one I want to show you, and I know that these stocks are in the oil and gas sector, and it's not exactly apples to apples with Torchlight, but still, they're still showing in that same industry group, so they're probably still going to move together at least for a little while. But anyway, first one I want to show you is GTE. This one is Grand Tierra Energy Corporation, and we can see that GTE has made a pretty decent looking double bottom. I usually like to see that double bottom, the second low, be just a little bit lower than the previous low, but it doesn't have to. I just find that when it does that, the chances of it breaking out, or if there chances of it following through on the breakout, are just a little bit higher. But anyway, GTE has broken above all of these moving averages, and it's starting to go sideways. So this one is starting to look really good to me. If these moving averages can catch up to it as this thing continues to move sideways, there is a strong possibility that you get that slingshot move up, kind of like you had way back here in early February. You kind of get that big move up, and if it can consolidate at those higher levels, by the time that 8-period exponential moving average catches up, you have a pretty good possibility of catching the beginning of this big move here. Sometimes they're not always this big, but it usually helps out the trend quite a bit when it can hang around until that moving average catches up. And if we go to the 15-minute chart, we can see just a little bit better how nice this rounded bottom looks like. And it actually looks a little bit like a cup and a handle formation, but it's getting real close to breaking through this resistance area right here around 73 or 74 cents. So GTE is right on the cusp of a breakout. This is exactly where I like to get interested in these type of stocks. So I want to show you GTE first. Next one I want to show you is Next. Actually, the next stock is Next, believe it or not. Let me back out just a little bit here. We can see that Next is kind of doing the same thing. It's been in a sideways consolidation, but the bottom is starting to round up a little bit, and now is above all of those moving averages and starting to consolidate higher. When I see them making this type of pattern, this is when I like to, start to get interested in the stock. I put it on my watch list, and if it continues to move sideways until this moving average catches up, that's when I really like to buy it, when they're just about touching, kind of how it moved up right here until that moving average caught up and you had that big move. It only lasted for one day. I mean, you never know how long these moves are going to last. I mean, if you like to day trade, I mean, you can definitely get in and out on these, but sometimes you get multiple day runs. Actually, most of the time, you usually get at least 2 days. So I like to swing trade them, hold on for at least a couple of days, but I'll take profits on the way up. But this is exactly what I'm kind of looking for here, guys. So this is the beginning part of that formation. Once this line catches up, I like to buy it as soon as they are getting ready to touch, and hopefully you get an up move. You don't get it every time, but if you do, you're right at the launching pad of when that stock takes off. All right, next one I want to show you is REI. REI is also starting to hook up as well. This one's already starting to complete the rounded bottom, and you can see the 3 days right in a row, just like I showed you on the previous stock. This one looks a little bit cleaner, and if we go to the 15-minute chart, you can definitely see that is a very nice looking consolidation at the moment. So this is exactly when I like to buy them, when they start making these little triangles like this. Sometimes they're big, sometimes they're small, but once they break out of these type of consolidations, you're usually on to your next leg up. So when I'm trying to swing trade charts, like these charts that I'm trying to show you, trying to swing trade some stocks, this is the point that I really get interested. And let's jump on to the next one. Next one I want to show you was CLMT. Look at CLMT. This one is on the cusp of breaking out. This is a $6.37 stock, so just a little bit higher than the previous ones. And usually these patterns, when they're a little bit higher priced, they're a little bit cleaner, so they're a little bit easier to trade. Now this one, you're waiting for this breakout through this resistance area. Once it gets that breakout through that resistance area, I usually like to buy them right away once they break out, and because I like to buy them as close as I can to this resistance area, because when they break back down, I can take my small loss and move on to the next swing trade. But if it does end up being a nice clean breakout through here, then you could be off to the races on a really big gainer. One that I was watching yesterday that I ended up getting a little bit of was NESR. NESR is breaking out right now, so this one is this is exactly what you want to look for in this type of pattern. If you're seeing this like a day or two later, what you want to do is wait for it to consolidate a little bit and hold these gains before you buy in, because after it's already broken through and it's extended a little bit, your risk is a little bit higher. I guess it all depends on your personal risk tolerance. I like to buy them as soon as they break through, or when they start to consolidate and go sideways, and this white line catches up to them, and hopefully slingshot it up to the next move. But I just wanted to show you one lately that has worked out pretty well, and these patterns actually have been working out pretty well in a lot of other stocks too. And the last one I want to show you is actually in the coal sector. And AREC, I talked about this one several days ago, how it was coming down into this bullish descending wedge formation, found support at that 200 period simple moving average, that yellow line, and it was starting to follow it up, and now you're starting to print these nice green candles. Had a big run earlier today, but it's been pulling back. This is an intraday chart, so could end up closing near the high of the day. That would be the most bullish scenario, but either way, it's still a pretty decent looking breakout with some nice looking volumes so far. So REC is doing really well, and if I click on this tab here, one of the reasons I want to show you REC was because this one is the one that's been lagging with these in the coal sector. Let me move this thing out of this screen for a minute so we can see the charts. If you look at HNRG, very strong. There of course is AREC. METC has been really strong. ARLP, this one is starting to form a nice rounding bottom at the moment. So this is another great looking chart in the coal sector. SXC has been moving up nicely. So you can see that AREC has been lagging the group, and usually when a group continues to be strong, the other one will move up later as kind of like a sympathy place. That's definitely why I wanted to show you AREC, because it looks like it might finally be starting to take off. Alright guys, well that's all I have for this video, so I'm going to end it right there. But if you have any questions about any of these stocks, or if you have any other stocks you want me to take a look at, please leave them down there in the comment section. I will get to them as soon as I can. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, guys, and until next time, take care.